London's population is 400,000, and there are many cultures and ethnicities from around the world that exist here. 5% of the population in London is Latino, and although a small percentage, we are a vibrant community. So as a part of celebrating Latinx Heritage Month, we wanted to present to you some of the members of our community, so that you can get to know them and what they do. These folks truly make our community better. We're excited for you to get to know them, and if you see a familiar face, we hope that you learn something new about them too. This next duo is Nicki, Nastasia, and Allan Wilson.
Hi, my name is Nicki Nastasia, and I'm a Latino drag queen from London, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Allan Wilson Lasso. I am Panamanian, and I work at the Grand Theater as a community engagement manager.
What does community mean to you?
Community means to me many things. Togetherness, sense of belonging. I think it's one of the things that specifically defines what community is. So, yeah. What was your first time in drag like?
My first time in drag was on Halloween, like 6 years ago. I really did it to piss off my parents, to be actually honest, because I was like, I'm going to really piss off my conservative parents and go in drag for Halloween.
Yeah.
So I went with my friend Maria, and we went out and we got all the clothes, and we got like the padding, and we bought a very questionable wig, very questionable, like clown wig basically. It was so plastic and so synthetic. It was not cute. And I thought that I was really serving. I thought I was giving woman. I thought I was like the only bad bitch in the room. No, I was just the only bitch in the room. I looked so bad. Oh my God. But I remember waking up the next morning hungover in bed with Maria, and we just looked at our phones, and I was like, I looked so good last night. I thought I was the one.
How can you describe the look?
Crunchy.
Okay.
Unprofessional.
Okay.
A little fuzzy.
Okay.
Yeah, not cute.
What don't people know about the work that goes into being a drag queen?
I think people think that it's just like makeup and costumes, and that like I just wake up and I'm like, oh, I just want to be pretty today and like put on a wig, which is like, yeah, it's fun and I get to dress up, but there's like hours of work that goes into like styling the hair or like washing your makeup brushes, for instance.
Yeah.
Like if I don't wash my makeup brushes, I can't do my makeup, or my makeup's gonna look real nasty.
Yeah.
A lot of drag queens, because our body types aren't the generic like body type of a regular like woman.
Yeah.
We can't go like buy stuff at the store off the rack, so we have to get stuff custom made. So it costs money. It's expensive. Like, say I go to a show and they expect me to perform 2 or 3 songs. That's going to be 2 or 3 wigs, 2 or 3 custom looks, 2 or 3 different pairs of shoes, 2 or 3 different sets of jewelry, 2 or 3 different lipsticks. So it's like, I'm having to buy a whole second wardrobe.
So how do you do? Wow. So do you recycle?
Like looks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean definitely like I can't afford to have like a new costume for every single show.
Okay.
But I definitely try to like have new-ish costumes or new looks for like every couple shows or like a new season. Like, especially if it's like a bigger show and I have a bigger budget or I'm being paid more, I know that I can invest more into like a newer look or something like that. Kind of like a gauge how much you're being paid to how much effort you're gonna put in, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess the thing I would say is it just costs a lot more than people think.
How does the work that you do support Latinos?
I think just existing. I think, like I said before, representation is huge, whether you're queer or not, whether you're Latino or not. Many Latino people grow up in very strict religious homes.
Yeah.
That's due to like colonization and tons of years of European rule.
Yeah.
I think that people are starting to realize now, once we like decolonize ourselves, that queerness is inherently Latino and queerness is inherently who we are, and it's a big part of our culture. And so I think more and more I'm seeing a lot more support from definitely older generation Latino people.
Yeah.
But again, that's going to take work, just like any movement does, right? But I definitely do feel that overall the Latino community in London does support me, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I find that interesting because it's so true. Right now in Panama, people are talking so much about just acceptance and the LGBTQ plus movement, it's so backwards, and I think it's because of what you just said. The oppression and the restrictiveness has a lot. It plays a huge role in culture, and culture is kind of hard to change.
It is, and I think for many generations too, we've been so indoctrinated by religion that it's so hard for us to strip it back and tell what is really our culture or what was forced on us.
Exactly. I am the only Latino at the Grand at this moment, so the fact that I'm there, it's a representation for the community, and I think that's important. I also think it's important the fact that I'm Afro Latino as well, because sometimes we don't take into consideration that the Latino culture has an Africanity as well related to it. So I think being part of the Grand and trying to engage different communities to different events and trying to cater what the community needs will also help and support the Latino community and the growth and the development of it. Have you been to El Salvador? If yes, what was it like?
I have never been, actually.
Can you?
I've been to Guatemala, which is right beside it. So I mean, like, I could see it.
Yeah.
But from what I've been told from family, I mean, it's probably biased, but they say it's the most perfect place on earth. There's nothing ever going on wrong there. I mean, why did you move here then, sis? But from what my family and my tias and my abuela have told me, that the biggest difference between there and here is the sense of like family that you have in communities. Communities are much smaller there, and so you really rely on neighbors, and you really rely on your family members to raise your children, to work with you, to do all those kind of things, where here in North America it's very individualistic.
Do you consider yourself Canadian or Salvadorian, or both?
Definitely both.
Okay.
I don't consider myself Canadian in the sense that like I'm indigenous to Canada. But I definitely consider myself Canadian because it's pretty much all I know. I've never lived in any other country. I've never experienced like living anywhere else but this country. But I don't feel connected to like this country culturally. Like I don't see, like, even though I'm French Canadian, I don't like see French people on TV and be like, oh wow, that's me. I do see myself on TV when I see other Latino people, but not in the same way that I feel like other people see themselves. I think growing up mixed race gives me a very like unique perspective on having like an immigrant background and growing up in London, because London is such a conservative and a lot of times racist city. So a lot of times, because I'm so light skinned and because I'm mixed, I go a lot of times undetected as Latino. And so I think that plays into a big role for sure.
Tabarnak.
Yeah. Tabarnak Cales.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the difference between Afro-Latino and Latino?
The difference is that Afro-Latinos have a background of are part of the African diaspora in Latin America. So culturally, there would be different parts of the African continent cultures that are kind of intertwined within the Latino culture. So, for example, in Brazil, there are a lot of Yorubas from Nigeria. There is a lot of aspects of the Yoruba culture within the Brazilian culture. That's why you will hear a lot Afro-Brazilian, like for example samba and some type of music from Brazil, such as axé, have a lot to do with Nigerian culture and Yoruba specific. In Panama, for example, we have a lot of Jamaican background and culture, so that's a mix as well. It's Afro-Latino.
What is one thing you wish you could bring to Canada from your home country, or from a country that your family's from?
The sense of the connection with the indigenous and the African culture. I think that's very important. Like I feel that in Panama is very important. Like the connection between Panama, it's a mix as well. But I think that's something that Canada lacks. It's the mix. It's like everything is so segregated that you are missing a lot of opportunities from each one of the groups that are around.
Yeah. Oh, right. What Christmas traditions are there in Panama?
I think on the 24th, it's the biggest preparation for the 25th, but the 25th is not like unbelievably celebrated. Like on the 24th, you will go to the market to buy what you're gonna cook on that day. You'll prepare. If you haven't done the tree, you will do it that day because you have to be ready because Santa comes at night. Even though there are no chimneys in Panama, because of course, what would you have one? At 9, you do the dinner with the whole family, and at 12, there are a lot of fire, fuegos artificiales that happen a lot, and then from 12, people go out to the streets and you start listening to all type of musics around. And what is really interesting that I haven't experienced here or in other places that I've lived is that people stayed until 8 a.m. just partying all night long.
That.
All night long. And that's...
Sounds like Pride.
It is!
Yeah.
In a way, it is. It is. But with gifts and a lot of food.
Okay. What is the dish you prepare at Christmas?
I don't prepare it. Someone else does. Period.
I don't do anything at Christmas either.
Yeah.
I just drink.
So usted no comen
No.
en las Navidades.
Yo como, pero yo como la comida que me hace mi mamá o que me hace mi novia.
Bueno.
No como... Nunca he hecho nada en Navidad. Nunca he cocinado nada en Navidad. ¿Pupusas o tamales?
100% pupusas any day.
Yeah.
Any day, mainly because when I was growing up, my abuela made me pupusas more than anything because they're my favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like they also taste the best.
Yeah.
They are the hardest to make, which is why I always go to my abuela to make them because I'm not spending 500 hours in the kitchen trying to do that. So always pupusas, especially if abuela makes them.
Great. Awesome.
What is your favorite dicho de Panama?
Camarón que se duerme se lo lleva la corriente.
What is your favorite Spanglish word?
I find really interesting how people say patio. Like the way that patio, I don't know, it's a very Spanish word because it's Spanish, but people use it here, like in Panama. I don't know other places. In Panama, it's just the back of a house. Like it's el patio where trees are. But here, patios are an outside extension of a restaurant.
Yeah.
When it's outside.
I mean, some people do use it. Like I would consider my patio and my apartment like my backyard, but I wouldn't call like someone's backyard automatically a patio. Mine is only a patio because it's like a deck with like tables on it.
But that's the thing.
I wouldn't like my parents' backyard is not a backyard because it's not a patio because it has a grass and trees. That's not a patio. That's a backyard.
But that's a patio. Un patio en Panama.
Yeah.
Es un patio. Es un patio. Es un patio. But here, like, I don't know.
There has to be tables to be a patio.
No, it doesn't. It's just a patio. It's a patio. It's a backyard.
I guess every restaurant has a backyard then.
Exactly.
¿Limpias la casa con música o sin música? And what song are you playing?
Always music. Obviously, if I'm cleaning the house, always to Selena. Always.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it starts off with her fast songs, and then usually after like a glass of wine or two while you're cleaning, it goes to the slow songs, and then it's like, it gets messy.
Yeah. Was it cleaning at the beginning?
It was cleaning at the beginning, but then it just turned into like dancing with the vacuum after,
I clean always with music, but I do everything with music. Like it's even weird because I work with the majority of people I work with are white, so it's like I would. There's an inner desire to listen to music when I'm thinking, but there is silence, and it's hard to get used to that silence. And when you're doing stuff, it's like, but here culture. Like I think that's
Yeah.
specific, like Latino culture. I think everything that you do has music. I don't know why, but that's true.
Because we're fun.
Well, I don't know. It's just like your ears,
They're bored. I need something
right?
new.
Like it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, cleaning with music,
Cooking.
cooking, working. What's your favorite song to perform to?
That's hard. Probably one of two. I would say Let's Get Loud by J-Lo. It's a
Okay.
classic. I could perform it in my sleep. The second, it's probably a tie. A tie between probably like Crazy in Love, Beyonce,
Yeah.
or Como la Flor, Selena.
Great.
Yeah, I mean two polar opposites, but
Yeah.
two icons, and I can't pick between the two. So those are like my top three.
Could you imagine if you can do a mix between both at the same time?
Selena and Beyonce.
Yeah.
I think it'd be too powerful.
Right?
The crowd couldn't handle it.
No,
They
right?
would die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drake or Setch?
Of course, Sech. It's like,
Who is Setch?
who's Drake? I don't know who's Drake.
I mean,
Sech is the Sech es la marca. Sech, punto. That's it.
Okay, answer
Thank you so
done.
much.
How can the Latino community continue to support you?
Come to my shows. I mean, the biggest thing you can do is buy a ticket. Come watch it. You don't have to. Like a lot of shows are in bars, but you don't have to drink. Like a lot of people don't drink when you come to a drag show. It's not like expected that you have to also be a partier. I think there's so many different kinds of drag shows to go to, brunches, drag queen store at times. Like there's so many different ways you can support drag artists, whether it's buying their merch or even just like liking their picture on Instagram, sharing it. I think just showing your support in whatever way you can. I'm not asking you to like donate $100 to the cause, but I mean just like even liking an Instagram picture, a follow, stuff like that makes a difference in an artist's life and their craft.
100%. How do you incorporate being Latinx with drag? And what does it mean to you?
Drag and my Latinidad go hand in hand for me. I think I use drag to connect to my culture. I think especially growing up mixed race, growing up with a white mother and a Latino father, music and like watching divas perform in Spanish was a way for me to feel connected to my culture because I wasn't able to like go back to where my family is from. I wasn't able to like see the things my dad saw growing up. So the only connection that I have to my Latinidad is through music or through dancing. So
Yeah.
for me, performing in Spanish was just like a no-brainer. It was a way for me to connect to my Latinidad, to be able to celebrate it and teach other queer people about it too.
Great, because I think it's also a great opportunity for other Latinos that are coming out of the closet to see you as an example.
Exactly. Like growing up, I never had like
Exactly.
queer people to look up to in the Latino community.
Yeah.
Like who do we have? Walter? That was it. And I don't think everyone wants to be like Walter. We love him, but like we're not all trying to be that. So I think like it's having more than just that as your representation means a lot to people. And I think you're seeing that again like on TV shows, on stuff like RuPaul's Drag Race. We're seeing queens that come from Latino backgrounds, that come from all sorts of Latino backgrounds, Afro-Latino, like Indigenous Latino. Like there's so many different kinds of Latinos, and I think the more representation all of us have is the better. Mm-hmm. One last piece of advice I would give to London's Latinx community is to research the queer history in your community and where you're from. I think you'll be very surprised to know that many Indigenous communities from where we're all from were very queer friendly and very queer centered. So I think that I would encourage everyone to like educate themselves and decolonize their mindset when it comes to gender and sexuality, and to reconnect with our queer history as Latinos, because it's very rich and it goes back centuries. So I would encourage everyone to just educate themselves on that, and because I can guarantee many of you probably are far more queer than you think.
I would like to encourage you all to continue being yourselves and identifying what is important for you. And as a Latino, I encourage all Latinos to continue exposing your Latinidad, continue working out towards an improvement of the community and supporting your own community to develop, to grow together and be able to have a better city, a better country, and a better world. Thank you so much.
Diana, one of the collaborators here at Cultura. Thank you so much for watching our community series. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to follow us on socials to keep up with everything we have coming out for you guys.